That's not normal, right? That is that like common, a 12-foot wide house? Hey, what is going on? Thanks for stopping back by the channel. Before we get into today's video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, give this video a thumbs up and a share, because we're about to look at 18 house details in the UK that foreigners just don't understand.
Great
Let's go.
Britain, a country of centuries-old traditions, and some of them might seem strange to foreigners. But the Brits aren't in a hurry to change something just because the rest of the world does it differently. Welcome to an English home, and be ready for a surprise in almost every room. Double faucets. These are double faucets for hot and cold water in Britain. When they first appeared, boilers were used to heat water, where the bacteria Listeria would thrive. People were at risk of getting infected when they used the hot water, while the cold was pure and could
Double faucets. You don't just have one tap that comes out with the two handles and then the water mixes hot and cold and then comes out of one spot. You got to have two separate spots, one hot side, one cold side. Is that how that is? Is that still a thing, or is that like changing? Because like we can just turn on both at the same time and control the temperature of the water right there as it comes out of the spout.
for drinking. To avoid an outbreak of listeriosis, authorities forbade mixing the hot and cold water. The time of old boilers passed long ago, but separate faucets can still be found there, mostly in older homes. Wondering how they wash
Okay, so if they're found mostly in older homes, then the newer homes have like the modern day ones, like I was saying, with the two knobs with one faucet. Is that common now? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious.
their hands? The Brits kid that they've gotten used to moving their hands very quickly between the two faucets. If you don't have this skill, you can mix the water in the sink, which is good for conserving it too. Another option is to buy a special attachment that mixes the water. Water laws. In 1965, still another rule about water was accepted. The tap with hot water has to always be installed on the left side when it's possible to do so. This is done for people with poor sight who might not see where it is and get burnt.
Yeah, we have the same thing in America. The left side knob is always hot, right side is always cold. That's the exact same thing.
Electricity in bathrooms. You won't find outlets in the bathroom. The voltage in Great Britain is higher than in North America, and in order to avoid an electric shock, there are even pull-string light switches there. They're totally safe, no matter how damp it is. British safety rules also demand that you shouldn't be able to plug something in an outlet when you're in the water. That's why there are outlets in the kitchen where you have contact with the water, but don't get into it. Other countries have different rules, but they might not be as safe.
Yeah, we have outlets in the bathroom. Usually they're by the sink, very similar to like if they were in your kitchen, so that you can plug in your electric razor or, your blow dryer, curling irons, whatever. But you don't generally see any like next to the tub or a shower. No, that's not a thing. But we do have them in the bathrooms, and we also have regular light switches. But again, those are all, away from the tub. So I don't know. I guess I don't see how that's as dangerous. I mean, it's no different than being next to your kitchen sink.
Plugs. The plugs themselves are different. They have 3 pins instead of 2. Power outlets have an on switch, which is good since you don't have to unplug the device after charging it.
Why do you have an on-off switch on your outlet? Explain that, please. Someone in the comments tell me why that's a thing.
Simply turn off the outlet itself. But if you forget to turn it on and start charging your smartphone at bedtime, you might just oversleep. Washing machine.
Exactly. I mean, that's me, right? When I go to bed, I plug in my phone, I just go to sleep. I'm not stopping to like, oh, did I turn the switch on or off on the electrical outlet? Why? Why is that a thing? I mean, we do have outlets in America that are attached to like a light switch on a wall, so that like if your lamp's plugged in, you can just flip the switch on the wall and turn it off or on. But generally, no, we don't have on-off switches for our electrical outlets. That's kind of odd to me. I mean, I get it. It's normal for you. Don't come at me crazy in the comments because I said something was strange. Please, Let's not do that. But if you want to tell me exactly why, then yeah, let me know.
Machines in the kitchen. Washing machines are tucked in the kitchen because, you guessed it, there are no outlets in the bathroom. British homes are usually smaller than North American ones, and detached or semi-detached houses often don't have separate laundry rooms or even dryers. To dry
Okay, I guess that makes sense, right? Um, we have a laundry room. It's got a plug outlet in there. You plug in your washer and dryer. It's its own separate space. But our homes are bigger, from what I understand. I think they just said that the average home is somewhere around 800 square feet in the UK. That's very small apartment here in the United States. We have much bigger homes with more space, so we have like an actual room designed for your laundry.
clothes, they hang them outside on clotheslines. Reverse switches. Switches in Britain are reverse. You need to flip them down to turn the light on and flip them up to turn it off. Where does this tradition come from? Nobody knows. It's just a convention. Interior doors. Now, what could be so unusual about doors? Well, they don't open to the perpendicular wall, but to the parallel wall. It might seem strange, but it's good for privacy. Nobody will see you without clothes on if you're changing and forget to lock the door.
That is a really good idea. Because, I mean, here, the doors just open up to the wall. I mean, like, if you opened up the door, boom, it's right there. Everybody can see inside the room. So, yeah, that's smart. That's a really good idea. Yeah, I like that.
Carpeting. Wall-to-wall carpeting can be found anywhere in the house. Sometimes in the bathroom, too. If you buy or rent a house, this won't even be mentioned in the ad. There's not usually another option. Closets.
You put carpet in every room? Like every room? I mean, yeah, okay, here in the United States, there are some homes that have like carpet in their bathroom, but it's rare. It's usually some sort of tile, something that, it's going to get wet and it can be cleaned up easily. Yeah, carpet in the bathroom. Interesting.
As common houses are normally small, there isn't much free space for full-size closets. People try to use every square foot to tuck them in, like the place under the stairs, which is usually pretty steep. Windows. Windows are open either out, up, or down, but not inside. It makes sense if you have a small room, but just think about how you'd wash the windows. Victorian windows usually have only one glass pane, and you can't change them to modern ones, since old buildings should remain untouched. The Brits also don't use curtains, only blinds, which are very thick and have several layers.
Okay, so you don't have the windows that open inward so that you can clean the outside, and you don't use curtains, you just use a Venetian style blind that just collect dust, right? Don't they just get dirty? Are you constantly having to clean them? Because I mean, it seems like that's always the case, right? They get covered in dust and then you got to go through and clean every window in your house a lot. Or am I wrong? Let me know.
Air conditioning. There aren't often air conditioners in British homes, since the temperature in summer doesn't usually get too hot. That's why windows are used for ventilation and have built-in air circuits so that fresh air can get inside even when windows are closed. Can you imagine what kind of air leaks they have? That's why special long pillows that prevent drafts are in great demand.
Okay, so you put those vents in your window so that you get fresh air. That way you don't have to open the window, right? And then you got to put a cover over that so that you don't get drafts in your house. Wouldn't it just make more sense to get a window air conditioner or something that sits in the window, cools your house? I mean, I know you can get them there, right? Am I wrong? They don't exist in the UK? I mean, here in America, they're everywhere. I mean, you can go to any store, any shop, can get an air conditioner for your window.
Covered-up windows. There are hundreds of old houses in Britain with covered-up windows. If this isn't strange, then what is? Well, it also has a reasonable historic explanation. The window tax, introduced in 1690.
Window tax? Are you going to tell me that you guys have to pay a tax per number of windows you have? Really?
96, levied a tax on property owners based on the number of windows they had.
Wow.
The more windows the house had, the more tax the owner had to pay. Usually, it was
That would also explain why your houses are smaller, because then you have less windows and you don't have to pay as much in taxes. Huh. I guess now I can understand. It makes sense that you have a smaller home.
the rich who had larger houses with more windows, so the government thought it was a brilliant way to make them pay more taxes. Poor people with fewer than 10 windows were exempt from the window tax altogether.
Right. Okay, there. That's why you have those smaller attached houses, right? Those terrace apartments. You don't have many windows. As long as you're under 10, you don't have to pay the tax. Man, yeah, okay. Now it's all making sense.
Those people who couldn't afford to pay the higher taxes, or who had dozens of windows in their big mansions and wanted to economize, would build over the windows. When the tax was canceled, people were probably so used to the darkness that they didn't bother to remove the bricks from the windows. Cold inside houses. It's usually very cold in British homes during the cold season. Heating fees are high, and the Brits prefer to wear layers of warm clothes rather than receive huge bills. Some people turn the heat off for a whole night and take a hot water bottle to bed. The government even had to decree that it shouldn't be colder than 64 degrees inside. Pipes.
Yeah, no, we can't do that in the United States. Well, I mean, some states could, sure. But like where I'm at, in the wintertime, there is no way I can shut the furnace off for the night. I would have pipes that were froze up in the morning. It would be a mess. Yeah, that's crazy that you can just flip them off and not worry about it. But you must not be where it's super cold.
On the house front. Another detail that strikes strangers is that water and sewer pipes aren't underground, but attach right to the front of the house. This is also part of an old tradition when plumbing was much simpler. Garbage cans. Garbage cans stand close to the main entrance, as if they were the owner's pride. The true reason is far more practical, though. This is done for the garbage collector's convenience. In the 19th century, people used to burn their waste in the backyard, and ash collectors would take the ash that was left after burning. By the 20th century, the amount of waste got bigger and too much ash would be left over. Ash collectors were wasting too much time getting to the backyard. That's why authorities changed the waste policy and obligated people to put their garbage cans in front of the street door for quick collection.
Yeah, okay, we put our trash out by the road also. But in most American homes, the road isn't that close to our front door. So you have to like pull the garbage can down your driveway to get it to the road. But it keeps it away from the house that way. Yeah, so that's pretty common.
Small yards. There's often not much space in the backyard for a garbage can anyways. Some British houses on the main streets of the town are only a dozen feet wide and have a super narrow backyard. But still, they cost much more than houses on side streets. The reason is quite simple. Everybody wanted to live on the main street, no matter how small the house is. And they still do.
So your houses are like 12 feet wide? That's not normal, right? Is that like common, a 12-foot wide house? And then however long it is to reach to the backyard. I mean, let me know in the comments, is 12-foot wide a common size for a house? Or it just seems small to me. It really does.
Mail delivery. Front doors have special slots for the mail, and letters and newspapers fall right to the floor of the entry. If there's no slot, the mail is tucked under the front door. You remember that episode in Harry Potter?
We have mail slots too here in America, but we also have mailboxes that can either attach to your house or sit on a pole out by the street, and then the mailman can just pull up to your mailbox and throw your letters into there, or never even have to get out of their car.
When dozens of letters from Hogwarts flew through that slot inside the house? Now you have an idea of what I'm talking about. Milk doors. Old houses also have special tiny doors for milk. They seem strange now that you can go to any supermarket and buy milk that stays fresh for months. But until the middle of the 20th century, dairy factories delivered milk right to the buyers' houses. People would leave empty bottles on the porch or behind a special milk door that used to open both from the inside and the outside. I think that's still a great idea. And finally, this bonus. Remember when I spoke about wall-to-wall carpeting earlier? Well, there's a special pond near London where if you drop your wallet into the water, the carp fish there will pass the wallet around to each other and then toss it out of the water back to you. It's called carp-to-carp walleting. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. Back to Britain. Which of these strange details impressed you the most? Maybe you've noticed others. Let me know down in the comments.
All right, that video was very interesting. I learned a little bit. I had a few questions. But yeah, if you could drop a comment letting me know the answer to those questions that I had, I would really appreciate it. And if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I do appreciate that as well. And if you could drop a comment saying made it to the end so I can thank you personally. But yeah, 18 house details that you have in the UK that we just don't have. It was fun and interesting. And I'm Kix. I'll see you next time.